get your blood alcohol content.
How did you get camo Jordans?
They make them. Is it not a word? Dude, it is a word. You harken back.
You harking back.
No, you
right?
do not. I was useless.
Wait, hold on. Delonica?
I'm hurting, man.
Are you puking? Did you just bust out a Sargento?
We're a Tillamook family.
What's the proper technique to milk the teat? If they are competing for state championships, they ain't paying for their blizzards. Howdy, y'all. Welcome to the Marty Smith podcast here at Outsider. We're fired up today. We have an amazing show. I'm Marty. He's the great Wesley Blankenship. What do you got there, son? A Monster Energy?
No, this is a Creature Comforts Tropicalia.
Oh, you're drinking cold beer.
In our Daytona koozie, baby.
I appreciate that. You got that at the Daytona 500, I guess?
Yeah, were you there?
I was there, but they didn't give me any damn koozies. Who did you know that I didn't know?
Where did we get this from, Travis? Who gave us this thing? Travis has one.
Fanatics in the box.
That's right. We met Fanatics in the French suite, where I had that dog.
In the French suite? Is that what you call it?
Yeah, they told us when we were getting off the elevator, they said, it's this way to the French suite.
Did they really?
France suite. The France suite. And I said, I thought this was America.
Well, it's a good thing that they didn't, nobody in the France family heard that respective attendants say that, because they might have been excommunicated to France from Daytona Beach as a result of their little quip. But so you're going to have to contact your contact at Fanatics so that they send me a Luke Combs Daytona 500 koozie. I'm extremely disappointed at this moment that you're drinking cold beer out of your Luke Combs Daytona 500 koozie that I don't even have. We're going to have to do better than that. And by the way, thanks, guys, for hooking me up. I appreciate you getting me one, jackasses.
Let's not antagonize the Fanatics people, okay? They've got some special things coming down the pipe that, we may or may not be able to
like what?
Be a part of. Dude, they're Fanatics. They got everything. The next time Georgia wins the national championship or the Braves, well, I don't know if I'll ever see the Braves play baseball again, but when the Hawks win the NBA Finals, they're going to probably hook me up with some championship gear, so I don't want to piss them off. So this is all Marty, not me, Fanatics.
Well, I'm not upset at Fanatics. How are they going to know that I'm a part of
like
y'all's
you're mad
team?
at Fanatics.
It's here I am. I'm down there in the pits trying to make sure that we're prepared for Friday and that we have a successful Marty Smith podcast on Friday afternoon. And you two are up there in the French suite swilling cold beer out of your Luke Combs Daytona 500 koozies. God, what kind of friends do I have? Here I thought y'all had my back, and alas, I was incorrect. We have a really cool guest today. And I cannot wait to spend time with this person. Frank Caliendo is going to be on the podcast today, and he will share his path with us. I can't wait to learn, what's the process of learning how somebody talks? It must be meticulous.
Look, I suspect that he had a teacher or a high school coach or somebody that kind of unleashed this power in him and showed him that he was really good at not only picking up the mannerisms of somebody, but he could actually sound like that person as well. I did that in school. I'm not Frank Caliendo, but if you have it, you become that go-to, like, hey, let's hear a Coach Johnson impersonation, because we all know you're not going to say it to his face.
Yeah, my best buddy Bones growing up, he would emulate our JV football coach and JV baseball coach, the same guy, Coach Witt, Coach Dave Witt. And he had very specific and very detailed mannerisms, and Bones could recreate them to complete to a T. He could recreate Coach Witt. And Coach Witt had this way. He'd always have a lipper in, and Bones would be able to just deftly recreate an ass chewing from Coach Dave Witt of the JV Spartans. I bet he could.
How did Bones get his nickname?
Because if he didn't eat a cheeseburger, he'd fall through his asshole.
Which one of your friends had the best nickname? Was it Bones, or did you have a better one?
We had a few different buddies of mine with nicknames, but I mean, they
you
were
have one?
kind of standard. I mean, our ace baseball pitcher, I called Ace. I still call him Ace to this very second. He's now the school board director in Giles County. And his name's Stevie Steele, and he's my brother, and I still call him Ace. And do you want to know what his nickname for me is? You guys are going to fall out of your chairs. Guess what my nickname was? And I'll explain why after I tell you what it was. You got to guess, though.
I'm going to guess it was Red.
No, although a lot of people do call me Red now. It had to do with my ability to catch things, baseballs, footballs. I've always had really good hands, and so think about that, and then try to derive what my high school nickname was.
Velcro.
No, Sweet Hands. They called me Sweet Hands, and I loved it. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. It was never on my vanity plate. Wes, did you have a vanity plate in Dahlonega, Georgia?
No, dude, I didn't grow up in Dahlonega.
Yeah, you did. As far as I'm concerned, you dickweed. You didn't get me a Luke Combs
I'm
Daytona 500
I'm Dahlonega in
koozie.
spirit. All right, listen. I didn't have a vanity plate, but I did see it. We were behind a truck yesterday. Guess what its vanity plate was?
Hold on. Is it a Georgia plate?
Yeah, it was Clark County, Georgia.
Clark County, Georgia down there. Let's see. Clark County, Georgia.
You got to pay extra for these.
Yeah,
got
you do.
The wildlife awareness. You've got the
First in
Porpoise
flight.
Fund.
First in flight in North Kakalaki, baby. Right, bros?
Yeah, you got to pay extra for that.
Hell yeah.
What
was
What do you
it?
think its vanity plate was? It was truck. It just said truck.
Well,
like the
hey,
Washington football team of vanity plates.
did you see that lady? I forget what state I think it might have been North Carolina. I think it might have been here. She tried to get fart as her vanity plate. Did you just spit your beer out your nose? I'll win. I think she tried to get FART real big on her vanity
They
plate.
they didn't let her do
I
it.
think the director of the commissioner of the transportation venue said, no, you cannot get fart as your We Love the Appalachian Mountains vanity plate.
You know how in the cartoons and everything they show the prisoners pulling down the big stamp
Yeah.
on the assembly
Isn't
line
that how
of
they do it?
license plates? I don't think they do that anymore.
Oh.
Our Georgia plates are now just flat. So I don't know what the prisoners are doing with that license plate machine.
Travis confirms that it was North Carolina where the lady tried to get her vanity plate as fart. And she was disallowed from doing so by the North Carolina Department of Transportation, or maybe some sort of federal outfit. I don't know. But it was not allowed. So you never had a vanity plate, Wesley?
No, did you?
Travis, did you have a vanity plate in Ohio? I'm surprised you didn't have like Buck Nut 6 or some mess like that. I'm surprised you didn't have that. By the way,
Woody.
speaking of Buck Nuts, my boy Tom Engel, who's one of my best friends, he's one of the best producers at ESPN. He's a great man. I love picking on him because his Instagram is like Buck Nuts 17 or something like that. He's a big Ohio State guy like Travis. But I had a cavalcade. I had a cornucopia of bad vanity plates during my time. And that was all because my mother, whom I adored, I mean, I was a mama's boy like you've never met a mama's boy. My mother hung the moon, dude. And my mom's name was Joy. And when my mom got her Chevy Blazer back in 1985, I was 8 years old. My mom got a 1985 two-door, four-on-the-floor, outdoorsman edition Chevy Blazer. And it was diarrhea gold. And I loved that thing. But my mom's license plate was Joyryd, Joyride. And then when the Commonwealth of Virginia made the landmark decision to allow 7 letters on the license plate, 7 digits or whatnot, rather than the standard 6, it became Joyride, joyride. So we had my mother was very clever. Like she could figure out. She dominated Wheel of Fortune. She was the greatest Wheel of Fortune player of all time. I wish I could have got her on that, but when it came time for me to get my vanity plate, my sister made some real bad decisions on her vanity plates too. But I had one that was like Smitty 9. All of mine had 9s in them because it's my number. It's been my number since I was 5 years old. Smitty 9. I don't think I ever had a Sweet Hands license plate. Probably would have been outlawed by the Commonwealth of Virginia as being too risque.
Sure. Hey, explain to me what a Commonwealth is. It's just you in Kentucky hanging out with the Commonwealth.
No, I think there's a third. Vermont or somewhere. Montpelier. I don't know. Travis, find out what the Commonwealths are. It might just be
Travis
us
is researching that. He let us know that 80% of license plates in the U.S. are made in about eight prisons. How do they not know the exact number?
Just turn your damn microphone on and tell us. This texting thing sucks. Just turn your damn mic on if you got something to say and tell us.
There you go. Bark twice if you're in Milwaukee. Some of these prisons actually make plates for more than one state. So, still happening.
Sir, 4 states are the Commonwealth: Kentucky, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, and Virginia.
All right.
Okay.
Final Four. That's a
Massachusetts.
Final Four right there. That's some basketball schools potentially in the Commonwealth. What is a Commonwealth?
It's a state. It's a state. I don't know what it is. I should know what it is. It's
The United Commonwealths of America.
Well, there's 4 of us. I'm not even sure what it is, but I'll look it up. Actually, no, that's Travis's job. You look it up. But I did have, going back to vanity plates, I did make some really poor decisions. But another thing that were very poor decisions is I don't want you to out yourself, but did you and your buddies ever take like window static, like Mountain Dew window statics from down at the 7-Day or anything of the sort? Like, you know, the window statics, like the stickers that say, hey,
Sure.
99-cent cheer wine, 99-cent sun
Okay.
drop, 99-cent, like any of that stuff. Did y'all ever take those?
So my best friend growing up is a huge Alabama fan, and he somehow got his
How'd that
hands
happen?
on. Look, man, you grow up in Gwinnett County, Georgia. Everyone comes from every commonwealth and state you
point.
can think of.
Yeah.
It's a metropolis. So anyway, he got his hands on a Nick Saban cardboard
Coca-Cola
cutout.
static? Oh.
It wasn't a static. It was a cardboard cutout, and he kept it in his living room. So
McGee and I interviewed cardboard cutout Nick Saban on the Marty and McGee program this year in Tuscaloosa when they were hosting the Ole Miss Rebels. Someone randomly put the Nick Saban Coca-Cola cardboard cutout on stage, and so we decided to try to interview him.
what kind of
very on
static
brand.
did you take? What were your
No
statics?
Oh yeah, I took all kinds of statics, man. Anything that had a 9 on it, I wanted it. And my mom, so my sister, y'all, I will not even text this to y'all because I don't want anybody getting their hands on it. Lainey
want a
wants me
screen
to
grab.
post this photo. Lainey wants me to post this photo that my sister sent me. It is me getting dressed for prom my senior year of high school in my bedroom. And where it came from was Danny Cannell, who has an amazing radio program on the SiriusXM College channel with my boy Dusty Dvorak. They do a great job in the mornings. It's the college network that we have. It's ESPN College or whatever it's called. And he posted on the Twitter machine the other day, must have been a Saturday because I was actually on it, but that the Michael Jordan taking off from the free throw line. All right, it's Woosaw Marty, Squirrel Marty for a minute. Do you find yourself looking at yourself on these damn Zooms instead of looking at the camera you're supposed to look at? I always end up looking at myself.
I never look at
I
you
never
guys.
look at you either.
No. You could be flicking me off. I would never know.
Anyway, so Danny Cannell put this Twitter machine up there, and it was that the greatest poster ever was Michael Jordan taking off from the free throw line in the 1988 slam dunk contest, which I had that poster from like 4 different angles. I had the Wings poster that was the 6-foot poster that was horizontal of Michael palming the basketball.
How about the one how about the ground angle with the Winston?
With the Gatorade
background.
and the Winston. Yeah, and Gatorade too. It's the best. I had that, and I had Michael dunking the moon. I had a 6-foot, like a 7-foot tall ceiling to floor poster of how tall Michael was. My room was a shrine to MJ, and every pair of J's I had as a kid, I would meticulously dismantle the box in such a way that I could put the box on my wall. So anyway, where that came from is my sister saw me retweet Danny's tweet that it was the greatest poster ever, and she had this photo of me in my room. And Travis, I'm wearing Michigan basketball shorts. All right? I'm wearing Michigan
Fab
basketball
Five,
shorts.
Marty.
Dude, totally. I thought the Fab Five was the bomb, dude. I thought they were so cool. And my girlfriend at the time in high school wore a yellow tutu. Her whole thing was, I'm wearing a yellow tutu to prom. You got to figure it out. You got to figure out how you're going to match me. And I wasn't just going to, like, get a tie. So I wore shorts. Anyway, long and the short of it is, it's my mom helping me get dressed with the cummerbund and all that stuff.
A tutu?
I went to Giles High. And now there's actually a rule that states you can't wear shorts.
The
it's like the
tutu
Marty
rule.
Smith
Oh,
rule.
the
You can't
the
wear,
Marty
you can't
rule.
wear shorts to prom. Yep. And anyway,
We're like the Fab Five, man.
There are pictures everywhere posters everywhere in my childhood bedroom of MJ. And I was milliseconds away from hitting send, of sending this photograph to Travis, because I'm wearing those Michigan basketball shorts. And I thought, you know what? Hell no. I am not sending this thing to Travis, because I don't know where it's going to end up. I'm not ashamed of it at all, but, Laney thinks it's awesome. Like, there's an awesome photo. Like, I admire Martin Luther King Jr. so much, and have my whole life. And there's this awesome photo of him on my bedroom wall too. And Laney's like, you got to post this picture. This picture's amazing. And I have held her off. And she does, as Travis knows, though. She has full ownership of my social media channels. So she can really do whatever she wants to post a damn thing. I guess she will.
I mean, if she's okay with it, what really matters at that point? You've got the only seal of approval that really determines anything in your life.
Yeah, any man.
So
not just me.
Speaking of MJ, man, the documentary that came out last year, The Last Dance. I don't know about you, but we had the VHS of like Come Fly With Me, Hang Time, or Air Time, or whatever it was called. And I thought the documentary was great because it has so many new interviews. But I was just smiling the whole time knowing that I had already seen so much of that footage because of some of those pieces. Did you have all those too? Like the one that shows like Michael Jackson and him and all that stuff?
I watched Come Fly With Me so much it broke.
Yeah. I mean,
I watched Come Fly With Me so many times. I bet you, I'm not kidding you, Wes, I bet it was 500 times. I know the movie by heart.
Yeah.
Travis has heard me do my Karl Malone before, and I can do Karl Malone in Come Fly With Me perfectly.
Let's hear it.
And
we
Travis,
got impersonations. We got impersonations on the show today. You got to do it.
I know. I will wait to do my Karl Malone until Frank Caliendo is on the podcast.
Travis told me not to do my
critique.
Travis told me not to do my Matthew McConaughey with him, but
I think Carl. I bet we could get Carl on this podcast. I think Carl would be okay with me doing Carl because I met him at the 2019 College Football Playoff National Championship, and he had this big white beard, and he was like 9 feet tall, and he had a hat on. He walks over to me, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you're Karl Malone. What's up, bro?" And he was like, a big fan. Like he was a big fan of my work and Marty McGee and what we do on SEC Network and all that. I was blown away.
What's he doing now?
Like I don't know. I don't know what he's doing now. I think he owns a trucking company. Travis, get on that. I don't know. I'm not sure what he's doing now. Why won't Travis let you do your McConaughey? What the hell?
I was just messing with him. He wanted me to ask Frank to grade it. I want Frank to have a conversation with me in an impersonation of his choosing.
You know, with John Madden passing away very recently.
Yeah.
Speaking of the college football playoff, it was while I was in Miami, Florida with the Michigan Wolverines, and John Madden's grandson plays quarterback for Michigan. And he meant, like, John Madden's influence, not just on the game of football, but on the culture of the game of football because of the video game.
The ratings.
Because it made him timeless. I mean, what other analysts are around that long and mean that much to young people? It's a very rare staying power and staying power of influence that Madden created. And I truly believe that we're going to be at the point here shortly where I pick on Dale Jr. about this. We're getting to the point where these young race drivers that are coming up are going to know Dale Jr. as a race analyst, not as a race driver.
Yeah.
And
he drove?
You look at yeah, right. Yeah. You look at Madden's career, and Junior's in the NASCAR Hall of Fame because of his driving career. But I truly believe, like, you look at Madden's influence off the sideline was way more dramatic than it was on the sideline.
It's like a product.
He was very successful.
It's like a product name that's become ubiquitous in the sense that you didn't know that like a Rolodex, right? You think of that as an item. You don't think about that as a product, right? And these guys that are coming up now know their Madden rating. How many of them even know who Madden is?
I mean, it's become a ceremony. Like, it's become if you're a 99, and Travis, I don't know, like, video games really well. You two are millennials. You can help me out with this. But the guys who are 99
I identify
rated,
as a Generation X.
They receive gift packages, right? Don't they get, like, shoes and all this stuff because they're 99s? And I know it's a huge deal. I remember seeing Nuke Hopkins put on social media when he was rated a 99, all of the stuff that he got. And it's just a real badge of honor for these guys who are the elite of the elite of the elite, that they are Madden 99s. And I'm telling you, I think that Dale Jr. has the potential. I mean, that guy won 2 Daytona 500s, 2 Busch Series championships, Hall of Fame driving career. I think that his influence, especially given the moment NASCAR's in, could be greater as a race driver than it is, as a race analyst in the booth than it was as a race driver. And that's saying a lot.
So have you ever done a
Travis,
story
are you calling me right now?
on the Madden ratings?
Okay. Got a Nashville, Tennessee number here. Calling me. Am I supposed to answer?
Yeah, answer it. Should we answer?
No, I don't know who it is. I'm super shady about numbers.
I'm not. I'll answer. I'll get right up in their grill, man. I'll feed it right back to them.
One of the funniest bits you ever did was the
They don't call me
automated
anymore, Marty.
Warranty people.
They don't do it anymore. So I don't know. I gotta.
Most people put them on a list.
Yeah.
Not to call.
They put me on one.
They put Wes on a list not to call. That's when
So
you won.
It
That's
started
victory.
out, whenever they'd call me, I do this to annoy my wife sometimes too. I'll do that really childish thing where whenever she says something, I say something. I just try and copy her as quickly as I can. And I did that with a couple of the early telemarketers back in the day. And some of them would laugh. Like, some of them would keep going with it. But these guys now are on some sort of crazy deadline because they get pissed, man. They hang right up and cuss me out. I've had people translate some of the reactions that I've had because they're not in English all the time. And
why do they cuss you out? They're the one that's infiltrating your time, your personal time.
yeah, I mean,
You're simply reciprocating the gesture.
yeah, I'm just playing with them, just having a little fun. And if they're not actually giving me a cruise to the Bahamas, then I'm going to let them hear a little bit of what I have to think too. But I like to play with those people because I think it's fun. And here's my deal. I think that in society, no one cares about kids. They get totally overlooked. And no one cares about old people. And I think a lot of these people take advantage of old people. So when I'm doing that, I feel like I'm taking precious milliseconds away from this person to try and scam my grandma. So maybe
That's your public service.
Yeah.
That's your
that's
PSA
how I
right
give
there.
back. So
You're dying on
the
that
ad
hill.
council's
All
going
right.
to call me up and say, hey,
Is there going to be a West Blankenship, the more you know, with a bunch of stars blowing across the
it's going to
screen?
go right across the screen. It's going to be like a telemarketer headset going across the screen. Like, don't call me.
Did y'all have the more you know, or are you too
Oh
young?
man, I watched ER and watched The Office. I think they were still doing the more you know with The Office.
I thought that was an afternoon programming thing.
They were
I
doing
didn't
it at night. Yeah.
really. All right.
All right. What did you think about the combine? Are you covering the draft at all? Are you doing anything with the draft?
I haven't been assigned anything
Sorry for
yet.
bringing it up.
But I was assigned.
I
Oh
hope
no,
no
it's
one
fine.
from
Not at
ESPN
all.
gets any ideas.
Of course, last year I was at Trevor Lawrence's
Right.
house for the whole extravaganza, and you never know. Some agent may call me in the next couple weeks and say, "Hey, we'd like to have you out at our house for the party. We're not going to go to New York, or where is the NFL? Wherever the NFL draft is, Detroit. Where is it, Travis? Look it up. But let us know.
It's in the Commonwealth of Nevada.
Pennsylvania. Is it in Vegas? Yeah. Well, maybe somebody doesn't want to go to Vegas. So you never know. I may end up. But combine, I don't pay a ton of attention to it unless I'm like super wild, and I was super wild. The speed in this draft is asinine. You got your boy Jordan Davis running a 4.7 at 400 pounds. Sorry, Jordan, whatever he is, 350, 360.
340.
And 340. Okay, 340. And by the way, all you NFL GMs that most certainly listen to our podcast here at Outsider, I know a lot of you guys tune in every week. Great kid. Phenomenal kid. Grew up right near me, went to Mallory Creek High School, right down his high school neighbors my kid's school. It's right beside it. And he's a great young man. N'Kobe Dean, you couldn't ask for a better person, and he's probably going to be one of the first linebackers taken. He did nothing to change that. But I was blown away by the speed. I mean, at every position, there were 11 wideouts that ran sub 4.4s. That is crazy,
So how
man.
does this happen? And I'm not
I don't
feeding
know.
into
I don't
the
get it. I don't know.
conspiracy theorists that want to listen and tune in here, but there's definitely a conspiracy theory going on now that they've juiced the numbers, they're hitting the laser early. I don't really know how you do that, why you do that, why does it matter? You know, they're all fast. That's what I take away from it.
I think
What does the
in
number
the
matter?
end, I mean, turn on the tape. I mean, turn on the tape, and all of them are. If you're at the NFL Combine, you're an elite athlete, and you're gonna do crazy numbers on whatever the metrics, whatever the events. What do you call it?
I call them
like
events.
stations. Yeah, whatever the stations or events are. I mean, these guys are firing off 225 30 times. Wes, have you ever bench pressed 235?
235?
Or, pardon me, 225?
Yeah, I did it in high school when I was actually trying to accomplish that.
You could bench 225 pounds in high school.
I couldn't rep it like we were talking last week. I wasn't listening to Stars Born and then getting under the bench and repping it out. But, yeah, I hit it as my max. Now, did I get it much higher than that? Hell no.
If I would have tried to bench 225 in high school, it would have caved my chest in. I would have broken my solar plexus.
Yeah.
I would have been going to the hospital. And, I mean, when I was in high school, I graduated high school at 138 pounds. And I could barely bench. I mean, I could do 135 a couple times, 10 times maybe. But there ain't no way in hell I could do 225. I wonder if I could do – I'm in some of the best shape of my life right now. I'm not sure I could do 225 right now. Maybe.
What's like a drill that you did in high school that you feel like you could compete in if it was an NFL Combine event? Did y'all have like your own kind of drill?
All right. I'll tell you what I could compete in. I could compete in the wide receiver catching drill right now.
Okay.
Right this second. It has not. Now I'm sure they're timing them for speed and all that. I'm talking about going like, you know how they catch the jugs gun, then they spin 180, they catch another jugs gun, then they take off down the line and it's left, right. 100%. I can do that drill right now. I can't do broad jump. I can't do 40. I'd blow a hammy in 20 seconds. No chance. No chance.
So we had on our high school field a bucket that was filled with cement, and it had a PVC pipe in the middle of it. Part of our warm-ups for practice were to put our hands around this PVC pipe and catch the ball. And I can still now close my eyes and see that pipe and see the backdrop of my high school practice field. And then another thing we did before workouts was called dot drill. And back to the high school coach that you could do impersonations of. Our high school football coach.
What was his name?
Jim Tiller. And
Coach Tiller.
Coach Tiller, baby. I hope he's listening.
He is.
Coach Tiller would work out before us. And if you had the first weight training class of the day, Coach Tiller would be sweating his ass off, wearing his weight belt, and he was probably about 180 pounds, probably 6'1".
So he was pretty yoked.
Dripping sweat. And he would drink out of the same Subway cup every single day. I don't know if he ever washed it out, but it was always...
He probably spit his dip in it.
He didn't do that, but he drank Mountain Dew. That was his drink. He would have a Mountain Dew out of that thing every day. And he'd be dripping sweat on the floor, and he would say, "Dot drill, go! Dot drill, go!" And it would be like a rotation of guys just going through the line. There's like, if you look at the floor, you would spray paint one dot in the middle, and then a dot like to the upper left, upper right, bottom left, bottom right. So it was like 5 dots, and you would basically do like a hopscotch kind of thing. And I prided myself on that dot drill, man. And that was it.
What
if the
position
combine had a dot drill, I'd be doing dot drill. I'd be setting everything else out, but I'd be doing dot drills. I was a tight end and a
were you a wide
defensive end.
Tight end.
I was a tweener because I was never like fast enough to be a wideout. I never ever dropped anything, but I wasn't gonna beat anybody off the line. This was 5A football in Gwinnett County, Georgia. Like, are you kidding me?
5 stars.
Yeah,
everywhere.
Ironhead Hayward's son was playing for my rival high school. That was the level of competition. I had no shot, but I envy the Giles High School competition. Like, not to say that y'all weren't the best, but Gwinnett County football was like an NFL factory. I had no shot, but I had fun, and all my best friends.
Yeah, there was no NFL factory where I grew up, but did Coach Tiller wear bike neoprene coaching pants with 2 snaps, and they were nut huggers where you almost had an indecent reveal?
Dude, we had...
Is your wife talking to you right now? It sounds like it. What's she need? Can she
Dude,
hear
that
me?
was a cement mixer outside. What are you trying to say? That was a cement mixer driving past my
sounded
window.
Sounded like a female voice to me.
I can't hear. She might be on the phone
I thought
on a work call.
Frank Caliendo had got in early and was doing
he's doing impersonations of my wife. Dude,
impersonations.
we had those horrendous Russell brand cotton shorts.
So bad. Dude.
Oh,
Did you also have a year's supply of Gold Bond medicated powder at your disposal?
man, I was so excited when we actually got some
Travis,
like the jersey material with like the little holes in the, what I'm talking about. Those cotton things. I should have ordered. I ordered true to size. I should have ordered some double XLs. The big O linemen were smart. They ordered the biggest pair of cotton shorts they could. But yeah, those were definitely a danger.
I was telling Travis a little bit ago, speaking of Gold Bond medicated powder and things that reduce sweat and stank, I've worked out twice without showering at this moment, and it made me think about this new deodorant I got. And I have used like Speed Stick or Old Spice no antiperspirant for years because the aluminum in the antiperspirants like lights my pits on fire, dude. They look like I have Bozo the Clown in the headlock. They're so red. So I needed something stronger. I was sweating through my damn shirts. So I went to the Walgreens and I found this stuff called Native. Y'all ever heard of this?
What's it called?
Native.
No.
Yeah. It is deodorant, and it's not antiperspirant, but it does that. It's like a stick that keeps you from sweating. We got to wrap. All right, Travis says we got to wrap. So that means Frank's here. What's up, man? What you up to?
Are we starting the podcast or
right now?
Okay,
Fire it up. Yep.
Okay, relax. Jeez. Marty Smythe, like Patty Smythe with a Y. You are the warrior. Let's see. Not much. I'm trying to remember the question. What's up? I think we tried to bump into each other in North Carolina a few years ago, right?
Absolutely did. That's correct.
In that little. It was one of the comedy zones. It's like in a restaurant or something, or an attic or some kind of thing. And I was working on some new stuff, and they're like, Marty Smith wants to come down, but he's got better stuff to do. So
That sounds like Marty.
yeah. So I'm just checking out my hair. Does this go out on video too?
Yeah, it looks phenomenal. Let it ride, man.
I look like a soccer player at halftime. I don't know what that's all about. Yeah, so yeah, I don't think have we talked face to face before? I don't think we've met before.
We have not, and
yeah.
I've been a fan forever. Wes has been a fan
doubt.
forever. Travis, all of us obviously just love what you do, and it's just funnier than hell. And I want to start with John Madden, and given the fact that he recently passed, and his overwhelming influence. And you're absolutely ridiculously spot on impersonation of him. But like, what's been the impact of you doing him on your career? What did he think of it?
Well, at first, John Madden didn't like me when I first started. Nobody had really done that. Well, at least not in a long time. Remember, Billy Crystal had done some Howard Cosell and Muhammad Ali and some stuff like that, and that was in the probably late 70s, early 80s type of stuff. Probably early 80s for Billy Crystal. But nobody really messed around with an icon like John Madden. So I think he didn't know how to take it. And I don't think anybody else knew how to take that kind of thing, because people were doing that type of stuff on like local radio and stuff like that. But I got to the national stage with it. And Jimmy Kimmel had brought me on the NFL on Fox because he was making the picks. And we did Madden for president. And what they did was they took a pair of hedge clippers, or Jimmy took a pair of hedge clippers to the Madden eyebrows. And as legend has it, John Madden wasn't excited about that. And then the next day came in with very well manicured eyebrows. So I guess I was making things better for everybody. Cosmetically. But I finally met him. I talk about this in my act, and I finally met him at the Super Bowl in Dallas. And Jimmy Johnson was standing next to him, football coach, not the race car driver, just to make sure with this audience, and so they don't get too excited. And I'm like, can you believe I'm this close to John Madden? He's like, what? You haven't met him yet? He taps Madden on the shoulder. And me not knowing that Madden didn't love me, he taps him on the shoulder. He's like, where's Jimmy? Oh. And the look on his face was like when Shaggy and Scooby see the bad guy pop out of the barrel. Like, Zoinks, like, hey, Scoob, like, let's get out of here. Ruh-roh. So I made his grandkids laugh. That was the gist of it. I started saying, hey, you think about things you're doing, the things you don't do, and then boom, there you go. And the kids, it was like 3 seconds. Like, they didn't know what to do. They looked at Madden, nothing. They looked at each other, nothing. They looked back at Madden, nothing again. And then they cracked up. It was like a light bulb went on over Madden's head. Like, I get it now. What this guy does is just silly. So Um,
It's amazing,
cameras
dude. It's
it came around.
amazing.
It is. It's an art form and a level of genius that only a few could attempt to even uh, get to. So yeah, it was. It's funny because people say, "What do you do now?" I'm like, "Listen, I haven't done a ton of Madden for 10 years. I mean, I do it in live shows because people love to see it, and it's one of those where it's that little piece of people who have been fans for a long time. If I didn't do it, it would be like not playing Freebird or something. For you got to do that for the people. Not that I'm at that level, but
Garth Brooks
that's
doing Chris
uh,
Gaines.
yeah, right. So it's one of those types of things where I put it out there, would do it, but it wasn't a big statement. And like, even when people want me to do it on TV, I'm like, I don't really want to do this on TV. It just makes it look like I can't come up with anything new. I don't mind, throwing to it, doing a boom, a quick thing like that. But to spend, like I remember it was a Comedy Central show, probably about 5 or 6 years ago. They wanted me to come on and do a Madden thing. I'm like, I don't have any interest in it. It was a big show, and I'm like, I don't have any interest doing that because I thought they were asking me to come on first. I was like, oh, that'd be cool. And I was like, no, we want you to come and do John Madden in the makeup. And I was like, listen, if I'm not past that by now, I'm never, I'm done for. So um, I just passed on it. But I appreciate it. That Madden thing was what put me on the map there. I mean, I was going to school for broadcast journalism, the University of Wisconsin Milwaukee, and I was playing Madden '92, the original Madden '92, and then hey, that guy looks like he got hit by a freight train. Those guys. The ambulance coming on. That might have been. I remember the ambulance come on and would roll over players. Do you remember?
Yeah. Yep.
Um, and so I was doing that. It was the Pat Summerall and John Madden, and the bit was, Summerall. Uh, you could never do it today. Summerall didn't really paint a picture. He just put the dots on there and let you paint by numbers. So it was like those phrases, to the 20, to the 25. That's there's no network that's going to let you talk that little anymore.
Yep.
So that's its time and a little piece of history there, but that was the evolution. I think I actually got a little bit of Summerall before I started doing Madden, but I went to school for broadcast journalism and was doing that in classes, and they're like, "Hey, you should think about doing this." And I went to Comedy Sports, which was a big thing in Milwaukee. What's going on? Is that dogs
Is that you,
barking,
Marty?
or is
My
that some?
doorbell just rang, and my
Oh,
dogs are losing their damn
okay.
minds.
I didn't know if
Welcome
that
to the
was.
barn, dude.
Sounds
I
like a
thought that was
kennel.
maybe somebody cornering. Yeah, I can't. In my headphones, it sounds like somebody cornering on the track. So, how many dogs do you have? It sounded like 40.
I only have one, but we're keeping
One?
my neighbor's dog right now, and my neighbor just came to get their dog right now. So my neighbor needed somebody to watch their puppy today. It's the same kind of puppy that I have, and unfortunately, my puppy likes to do inappropriate things to their puppy, and as a
That puppy
result,
likes coming over.
it turns into DEF CON if you let them in the same space, and then when the doorbell rings, you heard what happens.
We have four Shih Tzus, one Saint Bernadoodle, and the Shih Tzus are all tiny, and one little one. They're all Italian names: Carmela, Luciana, Nico, Romeo, and Rocco. But Carmela, she's the oldest one, she starts this yap like the doorbell, and it's like sounds an alarm, and then it like catches on. It's listen, this is a terrible reference, but it's almost like COVID. Like I wish I could put the masks on them to stop the spread, but I say we need dogs to need Fauci to stop so then the dog can't, when the doorbell rings, they're all they're just going crazy, and then the one just keeps going winding down like
Hey guys,
Running out of gas,
Cool
man.
it.
yeah.
So that journalism
but no,
class
we don't
was
have
the
any of that
first
here.
inkling you had that this could be something that you wanted to pursue.
Well, see, I thought thought I wanted to work at ESPN. That's what I thought I wanted to do. I thought I wanted to be a sports anchor because my dad was a minor league baseball player. We played AAU baseball, won the national championship, 1988,
Wow, awesome.
Wisconsin All Stars. Yeah, we Urbandale, Iowa. We took down some pretty good teams from out west and down south. People didn't think the kids from Wisconsin could do it. But by the way, the 18-year-olds had the best player. They were the Wisconsin Dukes, and they were headed by an infielder by the name of Craig Counsell.
Ah. Oh, yeah.
And Craig went on to a few things.
He did all right for himself.
In the baseball world. But my brother used to throw him batting practice. We used to work for a guy by the name of Mike Hegan. Do you remember Mike Hegan? He actually was he did color for the Indians for years, but his dad was Jim Hegan, played with the A's and stuff like that. Mike was a first baseman, but indoor baseball, softball place, and we worked for him. And that's where I started doing a lot of impressions, too, because I'd like hand out batting tokens, and I'd pretend to be Robin Williams, like, oh, my God, who knew? And we're dancing, and we're back, okay? And people are like, could you just give me the tokens? They're like they're a 5 for 6 deal. And by the way, cage number 5, one of the wheels isn't working. The balls are pitching at the batters.
What? Okay, so you mentioned Fauci a minute ago. He's a good example of people that like are just instantly thrust into not only the national consciousness but the global consciousness. Who do you have your eye on right now, if anybody, that you might be working on that we can look forward to?
Listen, I don't know. I don't. I mean, there's always people. I don't work on it a ton anymore because I've done so much of it. I mean, people are like, "Who's the next football coach?" I'm like, haven't I kind of done that? I mean, I feel like I've done so much of it. And then there's the younger guys like Joey Molinaro and some of the people that are coming up and they're starting to do something. I'm like, man, I just want to audition for like small parts in movies and stuff. But in terms of the people, McVeigh has got something because he's got that raspy voice and memory. He's got that. He's like he's borderline for some. Yeah, he's Clevelandish. He's Ohio-ish, I think. But that's real close to that Chicago thing. But he's like, I got to figure it out. That kind of thing where mental toughness. It's all in there, and the raspiness that makes it work. He'd be interesting because I stumbled upon Bruce Arians a couple years ago. That's what I'm talking about, Dad.
Hilarious.
Win or lose, we booze, baby. Come on, Daddy. And he
that's BA.
Yeah, man.
That's it.
That's what I'm talking about. Come on, Marty. You know what I'm talking about. We look at all this stuff. And Tommy City retired. We can get him back. I told Tommy, what the F is going on here? And I didn't say F at the time. You know what I said. That's the thing. And then he's got a giant vat. He's not even drinking out of a glass. He's just like, I'm ready to go, Daddy. Make it happen.
Man's got a wooden leg, bro. No doubt.
I did a like his charity event with Rich Eisen like last year after the Super Bowl. And it was funny because Rich was hosting it. And then I had like a joking thing of Crown Royal I was drinking out of, like a big cup or something. And that was the joke. He was drinking out of something bigger than what I had. And I was like, and it wasn't a joke. It was just real. It was what he was. It's like, come on. Reality can't be funnier than the comedy. That's insane. So,
Frank, what is it about impersonation that you have found to be so funny? Why is this funny to us to hear another person talk like somebody else?
Okay, so you call impersonation. I don't think of it as impersonation. I think impersonation actually is boring. If you do impersonation and you just try to sound like the person, it's done after a short amount of time. It's maybe you get maybe 30 seconds out of it. It's what you caricature it and make it an impression, which is it's my own, vernacular here. It's my own way of thinking about it. But the impression, it's you blow something up a little bit. When I first started doing Mel Kiper Jr., he would say Todd, right? He would say Todd. But I started going, Todd, to the point where McShay couldn't even walk somewhere without people going, Todd. And I remember McShay saying to me, he goes, you have no idea of how famous I made you? Yes, I do. Because before that, you were the guy who helped Mel Kiper. And he was totally guy. I mean, he was super nice. But it was kind of funny because he's like, everywhere I go, I know, I get it too. And I also get, that's terrible. I also get all kinds of things. So people sometimes those things can be a little goofy, but be happy people know you because it usually helps the contract. But in terms of why is it funny to people? I think because it's mostly the fish out of water situations, because you put them in a situation, and that's why analysts and sports analysts are so easy to do material with. You just take everyday situations and then describe them. And what do analysts do? They do color or part of play-by-play. And, they're doing it in a game. And then Madden used to do it during the game, right? You go, that guy's got a hot dog right there. You put the hot dog in the bug. You got some guy makes you in Chicago, you can't even put ketchup on that thing. You put ketchup on that, they kick you out. I mean, that's a mustard city. So, so it's when you take them out of the fish out of water stuff and do those types of things, that's where it starts to have fun. I would do Schefter. It was like, what was he doing outside? But it was reality. I would call Adam Schefter, or I'd be texting, Adam, where are you? I'm sitting in the doctor's office, 4 seats from the left, reading a highlights magazine. No. What city are you in, Adam? Long Island. It's like, come on, is that how specific you are? According to my sources, at this particular time, it appears the nurse's assistant will come and get me in approximately 4 minutes. But we're also hearing that because of COVID protocol, it may be an extra 2 to 3 minutes because of spatial recognition. What's spatial recognition? Something that I missaid, I misheard, and probably shouldn't have said right now. But according to my sources, it's going to be fixed with an asterisk in a follow-up tweet.
Bravo.
What is the process of honing this? What is the process of studying the individual? Because you don't just do the way they sound. You have, like you doing George W. Bush. You don't even have to say anything. You don't have to say a word when you're doing W, and I giggle. Because you have his timing and his facial expressions and hand movements. It's all down pat.
So the facial expression is the first thing that tips the person to what you're doing, right? So on TV in a sketch, you'd have the makeup, you'd have the surroundings. So if you don't have that, what you do is you go to the face. So the Bush thing is just the eyebrows up and that smirk, right? Do that kind of thing. And the voice just follows. Just good what that happens. And it's funny because when I first started working on the Biden impression, it's very similar because Biden has a look like it's like he's listening with his eyes, like he's always leaning in. He's like, "Come on, man, what are we doing? You know the thing with the guy.
Come on,
I don't have to tell you, folks, what are we doing?" And Trump has that look like he's looking into an aquarium and mimicking the fish. This is a tremendous fish tank. It's very, very good. But then it becomes cadence, and like a good one for cadence is Barack Obama.
Yeah, cadence.
Cadence talked slow at the beginning and speed up at the end. So there's that way. Robert Downey Jr. is the same way. Robert Downey Jr. talks slow and then speeds up, and in the middle you sound like you have to burp halfway through. So there's always that, and if there's an accent, there's something to throw in. That always helps with somebody. So, but it's finding the cadence. You don't have the pitch. You don't have to have the note 100% right. How many Christopher Walkens have you heard? High, low, in the middle. But you always know who it is, right? Yes, of course.
So you know who else is great for cadence is Tiger Woods.
Yeah,
Tiger's cadence is money.
He's very staccato. He's got that. I've never that. He doesn't say that. He says that. That sounds pretty good. We're around 18. Was with my son. Yeah, I've never actually done a Tiger Woods, but that's where I would start. I mean, I'd start with that. It's this and here, and it's each word has its own thing, but that does something. And he's always thinking, right? He's a Stanford guy, right? He's thinking 3 steps ahead. So it's definitely. For a guy like Shaq is going to mumble and tell you for hours, and then Charles Barkley is going to decipher what it just said. I'm the Rosetta Stone of the NBA on TNT, knucklehead. Ernie, how's that bow tie? You finished filming Big Adventure yet? Come on, knucklehead. Refresh. Come on. So, you find the little things when there's a take on the person. That's what makes it the most fun. Madden was over explaining everything. Barkley's annoyed by everything. Charles Barkley doesn't like anything. Everything.
I love that man.
Oh, he's the
That's
best.
a good man. A great
it's
man.
I talk about this in my act too. Charles Barkley is the most honest guy, and he's got the thing where he's been honest for so long that when people try to come after him for saying something that a lot of people couldn't say, he's like, I'm just being me, knucklehead. Like, remember, he says, like, I want to punch Draymond Green in the face. Remember when he said that? And then he apologizes, like,
you can't cancel him.
Right? And then he's like, I apologize for recognizing that Draymond Green has such a punchable face. I mean, that's not an apology, but you made people think you said sorry. And people love Charles because he's 100% honest. He's not going to pull punches. You can agree with him or disagree with him, but he's going to go for what he believes. And he could be wrong, and he'll say he's wrong when he's wrong. It might take him a little while, but he's going to do it. And that's, it's hard to do that. It's hard in the world we live in. People, you live inside a box a lot of time, always being careful what you're saying. But the people who are great at it and have done, they get a huge respect. I mean, so many people. A lot of people will dislike something Charles Barkley says, but there's a huge amount of respect for he's coming from truth, and he's coming from honesty, and he's coming from deep inside of him.
I can't help but see the irony in the fact that college Frank wanted to work in sports media, wanted to work at ESPN, but now your career through this weird twist has kept you adjacent to sports and kept you close to something that you were passionate about.
Wes, that's pure laziness on my part. It really, like, sports is what I grew up doing. Played football through. I tore my ACL in freshman year of playing football, but I played baseball. Still played baseball after that for 4 years of high school. I was going to play in college. I wasn't good enough, but I was going to go play Division II, and then I saw my college load, and I was like, I can't play this anyways. All I can do is hit. I can't run or throw that well. So a few of my friends got drafted I went to the University of Wisconsin Parkside my first year. And listen, I just, it really is kind of it sounded like a joke, but it is kind of laziness. I just got in that sports thing. I was around people that I identified with who grew up playing sports and were athletes at much higher level, but I had a common base of knowledge with them, right? In Hollywood, it wasn't quite the same. So I kind of trailed off and didn't do as much in Hollywood. And I wish I'd stayed in that path a little bit more, just because now I'd like to act and do a little bit more. So I'm fighting my way to get back in, and it's just starting to go now because I didn't even want to try. I just had no interest in it. And now I'm like, I've kind of done the stand-up thing. I've done the impression thing on the sports front, and sometimes I'll get like an audition, or even they'll offer me a part. Hey, can you play this person you do an impression of in a movie, not a movie, but like a streaming thing? I'm like, I really don't want to do that. That's, I'm going to put a bunch of makeup on and nobody knows it's going to be me, unless it was like a real lead type of character where you're going to act in it.
So you're saying you passed up the opportunity to play Sean Payton in the Netflix movies?
No, I probably would have taken that. I mean, I would take it in a heartbeat. The Kevin James thing. I was shooting a little part in a movie for what's his name? He was in it. I can't think of it. Why can't I think of his name? That's one of my biggest problems. I have real problems with recall of names, and I do lots of impressions. I can never think of the names of the person I'm doing. But what's his name? You can do it on the.
Oh yeah, Rob Schneider.
Schneider, yeah, Schneider.
Rob
yeah.
Schneider. Yeah.
So I was doing a little part in Rob's movie that's going to come out on. I don't even know what's coming out on. But he had to shut down filming for a little bit to go do that Sean Payton movie. And he didn't even say what it was at the time. But I'm like, is that the movie you were doing? He's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I would have done that in a heartbeat, because that was really just him, Kevin James making the face every once in a while, and just being Kevin James-ish. So yeah. But when I do an impression, like when I do something, people expect it, like they want me to be dead on stuff. I'm like, well, sometimes I just want to be goofy and over the top. Madden became that. I mean, wasn't even Madden anymore. It was just this crazy character, and that's what I like to do with a lot of them. Is because you get bored just talking like a person. I like to make it a character of its own, and it just almost like a cartoon character, and be goofier and funnier with it. So, that's where I'm at.
So we'll get you out of here on this. I do want to know what you want to do. You said you want to get back ingrained in Hollywood. You got a couple things popping. What do you want to do? What's the dream
For
now?
me, I just like to do small parts in movies or streaming or TV stuff. I mean, I'd like to just interesting parts. I get some comedy auditions. I do some of that, but I like the straight, like serious stuff. It doesn't have to be like overly dramatic, but just something where you have to think a little bit and actually act, because I worked on that for a couple years and I find that interesting, and it's working a totally different muscle, and it's surprising people, because whenever I get cast in a comedy show, if I do a guest star, they rewrite the whatever I'm doing for the character to do impressions. I mean, it's happened 5 or 6 times, like with even friends, but they're like, we want to utilize this talent you have. I'm like, yeah, but it keeps me from getting to do anything new and different.
So do you? I'm interrupting. I'm so sorry.
That wasn't that
but I'm
interesting
inferring the journalist in me infers I am tired of being typecast.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Like that's what I'm hearing.
I can't blame anybody but myself, because that's what I put out there the whole time, right? I mean, it made me a ton of money, so it's my own. That's why I'm honest about the laziness, right? If I hadn't been as lazy and just gone in that groove that I was already in, I could have pushed my way through. And there were some times where I was on billboards in Times Square with my show from TBS. I was ruining the baseball playoffs with an ad every 4 seconds. So, I mean, but I was content. I'm one of those people that when I'm doing something, I'm trying to do the best I can at that thing. And that's not really what this business is. People don't realize that once you just stay stagnant and you aren't working on 3 or 4 things outside of what you're doing as your main part of your job, you're not doing what a lot of other people are, because they're writing scripts. They're, even in sports, they're trying to get other, and it's trying to get parts on other events, whether it's, can I get into a NBA, when Schefter for a while was, doing some inside stuff on basketball games for ESPN. It's like, and it's people are like, you seem out of place, but that's what he wanted to do, is get put in another place where people would see him as something
else. That's what they said to me.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I cover every damn thing there is to cover. I started in NASCAR, and now I don't do any NASCAR. I do everything else. And when I started in college football, they told me you don't belong. When I started at the Masters, they told me you don't belong. On and on. When I started doing the Triple Crown and horse racing. But if you have any chops about you, you can adapt. And then to your point, the goal is to diversify your career. And if you have that ability, then you do that. And it's a tremendous blessing, but it is exhausting.
Yeah, and you got to work and if you have a family, it's a hard thing. And you have a thing. You have an interesting voice. You got a little bit of the Southern drawl there. But what you have different that I would say than a lot of people with a Southern drawl is that you articulate every single word, which is interesting. So you have the Southern drawl and articulation, where a lot of people would be when they're talking with a Southern accent, they just kind of throw things together, and words it becomes just, when you ever type something on the computer and you're on that computer and you're typing away and you look up. It's
pretty good Ricky Bobby, actually.
That's what happens. And the further you go down to Florida, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Frank's been to Appalachia, y'all.
You get win or lose, we booze, baby. Come on, man. It's Tampa time. He's coming back, Daddy.
Frank, in the spirit of being the real deal, I'm going to leave you with a poem here in the voice of someone that I admire. In a nation of impersonation, this guy right here, this fella is the real deal, compadre. No false starts, no pump fakes. Frank Caliendo is too caliente to handle, pal. So wear your mitts before you open this oven of vocal loving. All right.
I'm going to tell you, it took me
How'd I do?
Very good, very well. You started out a little slow, and then I think you were nervous, and then a few.
I did get nervous.
and then about three sentences in, you started to roll, and then you got the I believe that this I can't. You do it better than I do. But the McConaughey, you got that, and then when I heard the first Texas whistle, when I heard that come in, I'm like, oh, okay, and then you started, and then you ended with the all right. So you knew I would get it 100% if I didn't know.
I had to make sure you knew.
No, but I knew before that. I knew. I didn't know the first couple sentences, and that was because you weren't selling it 100%. Do it again, because now you feel good. Because you feel better about it.
Okay.
Now you're confident.
All right.
And take your time.
In a nation of impersonation, this fella, this compadre right here, is the real deal. Frank Caliendo.
Hold on, I'm going to teach you for a second. So slow it down.
I'm not trying to do this for my career, man. I was just trying to make you laugh, Frank.
Me either.
Let the man coach you, dude.
Let's go.
Just do the first sentence.
All right. In a nation of impersonation.
In a nation. So you got to southern that up a little bit. A little bit of Texas. I believe. I always start with I got to have a phrase. I believe there are in a nation. In a nation there are. You got to hold on to those words. There are ways.
See, that's the Frank Caliendo-fication that this impersonation needs, is making it more ridiculous. And I'm glad that you said that, because I've put a few of these out on Twitter just goofing off. And it's funny that you mentioned how people crack down on you for not being perfect. That's never the goal. That's never the goal, man. I don't want to be
funny.
The
idea is to be funny. It's the idea to be funny first. But you can do that because
100%.
You're not selling. I'm just telling you what I see. You can do it. You can 100% do it. You just don't know where to go with it. So you have to sell it as though you have to go the next level with them. So don't try and do it straight. Just that's what that thing he does. That I believe there are ways. Mine always turns into Jerry Jones. I have been.
I think the funniest thing about McConaughey, before you go, is his vocabulary. It's ridiculous and absurd, and there's no way that he really talks like that every day of his life.
Okay, so that's the bit. That's your bit,
Yeah.
is him
100%.
looking things up in the dictionary just to find new words that he's going to use, right?
On
There
the
you
John.
Right. Yeah.
I appreciate it, Frank. Thanks for playing.
Very
along,
good.
man.
Very good.
Thanks for your time, man.
Hey, brother, you're the man. That was amazing for us. Thank you for your humor and your candor and your perspective. We appreciate your time so much. We know how precious it is.
You're totally right. Thanks, guys.
I'm just giving you the floor because one of the greatest impersonators of our lifetime just said you're better than him at doing Matthew McConaughey. You're blushing. For those of y'all who are listening on the Apple Podcast or the Spotify Podcast or the damn whatever you have, Podcast One, Sirius XM, I don't know where
what we should do, Marty? We need to start releasing the best cuts of this podcast on like vinyl.
We should.
I don't think anyone's ever done that.
Eric Church, Eric owns a
those out.
vinyl pressing factory. I bet he could take care of us. But
There you go.
anyway, dude, you are blushing about the fact that you just got to
I'm
do
not
your,
blushing.
You are
I'm not-
blushing, bro.
I'm
Listen,
not
you're
blushing, man.
Dude, there are 3 of us in these windows, and we have a 66% consensus that you are blushing. You don't know what to do right now.
That's my Wi-Fi.
You don't know what to do right now
That's just my
about the
Wi-Fi.
fact that you just got to do your impersonation for one of the goats. So,
Look, dude, I wasn't going to come at him with my John Madden impersonation, but I picked my spot, and I kind of figured that he maybe didn't do McConaughey that much because I haven't heard him do it, so I took a chance.
I thought it was brilliant.
it was
It was
cool.
the right choice. You hit a home
That
run.
was really cool. I was debating on whether or not I should do it because he spent so much of that thing talking about how an impression is like not just sounding like the person. And he was talking about how he wants to be an actor. I'm like, man, I'm going to sound like a real jackass over here trying
Let me
to
tell you something.
do an impression when he's making it to Hollywood. And Travis texted me and told me to do it. So I'm glad he did.
I am too, because in this life, we spend entirely too much time worrying about what someone else may think. And I'm as guilty as anybody there's ever been. There is potential. You may never talk to that man again. So,
Oh,
by
sure.
God, shoot your shot. I mean,
Yeah.
anybody that knows anything about my friendship with Chief knows that the reason I have that friendship is because I shot my shot and told him that he saved my life when my daddy died. You did the right thing because, and not only did you get to do it, it's not like he was like, oh, that was cool. Dude, he coached you up, man. Like he saw the potential. He didn't go.
I appreciate that.
I thought it was awesome.
And I'm not even trying to go on Mad TV or make a career out of this, A lot of people, like he mentioned Joey Molinaro, like Joey wants to do that for his career. And I know that he and Joey have a relationship, which is good for Joey. I just like to have fun with it. I think the McConaughey impression, whatever you want to call it, it's like the same thing with Coffee Town a little bit. It's like it enables me to write creatively in a different venue and just share a different side of myself. And I'm glad that he gave me that feedback. It was cool.
I'll tell you what I think you should do. So this is what you should do. Recently here on Outsider, our founder, Shannon Terry, Jay Cutler, Caroline, Bynum, Jim, Casey. You might have been involved in it. Did you do the whiskey thing, the bourbon thing? All right. So several people involved in Outsider did this article where they shared their 4 favorite bourbons under $70, etc. So here's what I think you should do. I think you should recreate Matthew McConaughey's Wild Turkey commercial. I think that you should go down to the ABC store or the package store or whatever the hell y'all call it in the Peach State. Buy yourself some Wild Turkey, or better yet, just shoot yourself trying to pick which whiskey you want. And do it in the McConaughey voice, write some really clever VO tracks, and create your own commercial for Outsider as McConaughey for Wild Turkey.
Yeah. So now Shannon's going to hear this, and I am going to have a little extra work to do this week. But I'll give it a shot.
I mean,
I'll give it a shot, Marty.
Do you want to do it or not?
No, I do. I actually think that would be pretty funny. So I'll give that a shot. I think the Georgia people that follow me, I can do a Larry Munson, and they like that. They think that's funny. So there are opportunities to connect with an audience based on people that they identify with. And I think the Outsider audience obviously identifies with the MOC and people over at Dogs HQ on 3 like Larry Munson. So I got it in my wheelhouse.
I mean, I'm telling you, there's your homework assignment. And
okay.
I thought that was really cool to get to spend time with Frank. Travis, great job.
Man, that was awesome.
Great job getting Frank. That's a big score for us and what we're trying to do here. I want to just take a minute to thank y'all because the feedback that's really starting to make its way in now is so humbling for all of us. We are having a blast doing this show. We are having a blast spending time fellowshipping together. And yes, fellowshipping is a verb. And I'm just really grateful for the platform and for the belief and the continued growth. Do me a favor, please. If y'all love this podcast, please rate, review, and follow, I guess is what it was.
Follow.
Yeah, rate, review, and follow. And subscribe if you can do that. I mean, send a smoke signal, build a TP, I don't care. Tell everybody you know about what we're doing if you enjoy it, because we're creating a community here. We want to grow this thing. We feel like in a world of a trillion podcasts, we feel like we have something cool and fun. And that's what we're trying to do. And when folks like Frank take their time and spend a half hour with us sharing their path, it's just awesome. I want to say, too, that our store is open. Y'all go get your hat. We're hearing so much more feedback on our hats, too. I got one right here, which I have not worn the camo flag hat yet. I've not had this one on my head yet. I will be wearing that on Saturday on the Marty McGee program. Live from the Southeastern Conference basketball tournament in Tampa, which is where I'm heading this week. I got hoops Thursday through Sunday down in Tampa, Florida. I'm going to stop by the Players' Championship beforehand over in Ponte Vedra at TPC Sawgrass.
Marty, I got an idea for you. You said Vivian had a good carpool question. What if you pose her question at the end of this show, and then we answer it next week?
Okay, that sounds great.
How do we feel about that?
We can get out of here on that. This is the type of question that I received from my 9-year-old little girl that just stopped me dead in my tracks, because while the words are simple, the message and the inquisitive nature that comes behind it is so profound. This is Vivian's question. Daddy, was kind always a thing and they discovered rude, or was rude a thing and they discovered kind?
You wrote that.
I did not write that. That came verbatim directly from my 9-year-old little girl's mouth.
This is like the Kim Kardashian tweet where she shares the photo that her daughter supposedly painted, and it's like a Michelangelo.
I'm telling you, man.
Can you ask that one more time?
Yeah. Hold on. I got to reopen my phone. I'm telling you, man. It came directly from her little thought process in the carpool line at her school. Dad,
all right.
Daddy, was kind always a thing and they discovered rude, or was rude a thing and they discovered kind? You stew on that, America.
I will.
Tell all your friends to subscribe, rate, review, follow, send a smoke signal, and y'all go buy a hat. They're awesome. I said it last week. It was so cool. It's so cool when people are walking up to me with these hats and they want them autographed. And it means that we're starting to do something pretty cool around here. Thank y'all so much. Really grateful for our law enforcement officials all over the country keeping these towns safe. Thank you to Fire and Rescue. One thing I love so much about representing Pit Boss Grills is how much they love our first responders, and we do too. All of us do. We're really grateful for what y'all do every single day, saving people's lives. Really, really grateful for the United States military. There was a beautiful moment of patriotism here in Charlotte this week. Charlotte FC, our brand new MLS team, had its first game at Bank of America Stadium. They broke the attendance record, 74,000+ people. Microphone goes out, and everybody in the stadium was singing the Star Spangled Banner. And it was amazing to witness. By the way, great video, Ashley Stroline, my friend who works down here in Charlotte local media. That was her video that went viral.
Yeah. Charlotte's going to love having a soccer team. It's going to be fun.
Really, really appreciate y'all. Thank you so much to our military members, active, and our veterans. If y'all see one of our veterans wearing a hat that states that they're a United States veteran, that they served in a war, that they served in a conflict, that they're proud to be a Marine, that they're proud to be an Army veteran or a sailor or whatever branch, don't care. Take a minute and tell them thank you, because they'll tell you they ain't wearing that hat for that reason, but for our patriotism, we need to do it. We are free, and they're why. Y'all have an amazing week. Thank you so much for listening. For Wes, for Travis, for everybody involved, I'm Marty, and this is the Marty Smith Podcast. See y'all. We'll do better next time.